The MV Joyita was a Japanese-built, American-owned fishing and trading vessel. It was a 70-ton, two-masted wooden ship equipped with a diesel engine. On October 3, 1955, the Joyita departed from Apia, Samoa, bound for the Tokelau Islands, a journey of approximately 480 miles. On board were 16 crew members and 9 passengers, including a government official, a doctor, and a chief. The voyage was expected to take about 2 days, but when the Joyita failed to arrive, a search was quickly launched. After several search attempts, no trace of the vessel was found. 5 weeks later, on November 10th, a merchant ship sighted the Joyita adrift approximately 600 miles north of Fiji. The ship was listing heavily to port, and its deck was partially submerged. Upon boarding, rescuers found all 25 people had vanished. The state of the ship was puzzling. While it was waterlogged and partially submerged, it was still afloat due to its cork-lined hull. The radio was tuned to the international distress frequency, but a wire had been cut, preventing its use. The ship's clocks had stopped at 10:25, and there were no distress signals recorded. The vessel's logbook and navigation equipment were missing, as were some of its cargo, including sacks of medical supplies. A British inquiry into the incident concluded that the ship had suffered a leak in its engine cooling system, which caused it to take on water. However, the exact reason for the crew's disappearance remains a mystery. Theories range from piracy to a mutiny, or that the crew and passengers abandoned the ship in a panic, believing it was about to sink, only to perish at sea. The Kaz II was a 12-meter catamaran yacht. It was owned by Des Batten and his friends, Peter and James Tunstead, all of whom were experienced sailors. The 3 men set out from Airlie Beach in Queensland, Australia, on April 15, 2007 for a coastal journey up to Townsville, with plans to eventually sail to Western Australia. The voyage was meant to be a leisurely trip. 3 days after their departure on April 18th, the Kaz II was found drifting 88 nautical miles off the coast of Townsville by a Coast Guard helicopter. The ship was in good condition and its sails were up. However, upon inspection, authorities found that all 3 men were missing. The scene was eerily normal, as if the crew had just stepped away for a moment. The table was set for a meal, a laptop was on, and a video camera was found with footage of the 3 men alive and well just 2 days prior. The boat's engine was not running, and the sails were furled, with one sail torn. The video footage provided some clues. The last footage shows the men in calm seas, and the boat appears to be functioning normally. The official investigation concluded that one of the men may have fallen overboard, and the other 2, in an attempt to rescue him, also fell into the water. This theory is supported by the fact that the men were not wearing life jackets. The Kaz II incident garnered international media attention, earning it the nickname Ghost Yacht. The strange scene, with the food on the table and the still-running electronics, fueled speculation of a more sinister event, but no evidence of foul play was ever found. Flight 19 was a US Navy training exercise involving 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers. The flight originated from the Naval Air Station in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, on December 5, 1945. The mission was a routine navigation and bombing practice over the Atlantic Ocean, a triangular course that would take them over the Bermuda Triangle. During the flight leader, Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, reported that his compasses and instruments were malfunctioning. He became disoriented and radioed to the tower, saying they were completely lost. Communications with the flight became sporadic and confused. Taylor's final transmissions indicated that they were unable to determine their position and were flying aimlessly. After about 2 hours of confused communication, the flight's transmissions stopped. A Martin and Mariner flying boat with a 13-man crew was dispatched to search for Flight 19. Just 23 minutes after takeoff, the Mariner also disappeared, and a massive search effort found no trace of any of the aircraft or their crews. The Flight 19 incident is one of the most famous and foundational stories of the Bermuda Triangle legend. The disappearance of the 5 bombers and the rescue plane fueled speculation of supernatural forces, alien abductions, and time warps. The US Navy's official report concluded that the most probable cause was that the flight leader, who was disoriented, led his flight into the sea after their fuel ran out. The rescue plane is believed to have exploded in mid-air, a known vulnerability of the Martin Mariner model. However, no wreckage has ever been recovered. Tom and Eileen Lonergan were a young American couple who were avid scuba divers. They They were on vacation in Australia and booked a diving trip to the Great Barrier Reef on January 25th, 1998. The dive was a routine day trip. When the dive boat, the Outer Edge, returned to shore, the crew failed to conduct a proper head count. It was not until 2 days later, when a boat crew member discovered the couple's gear on board, that they realized Tom and Eileen were missing. The search for the couple began immediately but yielded no results. A slate used for underwater communication was found washed ashore with a desperate message. It was dated January 26, 1998. The most widely accepted theory is that the Lonergans were simply left behind by the dive boat. Despite the tragedy, the couple was very experienced and likely survived for several hours, but their eventual fate is unknown. The disappearance led to a major review of safety procedures for dive boats in Australia, which resulted in the implementation of stricter headcount protocols. The incident was the basis for the 2003 film Open Water. Bison Dele was an American professional basketball player, formerly known as Brian Williams, who played in the NBA. He was known for his eccentric lifestyle and had retired from basketball in 1999 to travel the world. In July 2002, Dele, his girlfriend Serena Carlin, and the captain of his boat, Bertrand Saldo, embarked on a sailing trip in the South Pacific from Tahiti. They were traveling on Dele's catamaran, the Hakuna Matata. Weeks later, Dele's older brother, Miles Dabord, born Kevin Williams, was found using Dele's passport to purchase gold in Mexico. The Hakuna Matata was found off the coast of Tahiti, but the boat's name and identifying numbers had been painted over, and it was missing its mast. Dabord claimed he had a fight with Dele, and that Dele and Carlin had gone their separate ways. Authorities grew suspicious, especially after Dabord took his own life by intentional insulin overdose in a California hospital. It was later uncovered that Dabord had told his girlfriend that he and Dele had fought, and that Saldo, the boat captain, had been injured, and then Dele and Carlin were killed. Dabord then admitted to killing Saldo as well. The lack of bodies, however, left the case officially unsolved. The USS Cyclops was a US Navy collier, a bulk cargo ship used for transporting coal. It was a large ship, over 540 feet long, and was commissioned in 1910. In early 1918, during World War I, it was carrying a full load of manganese ore from Brazil to Baltimore. The ship had 306 crew members and passengers on board. The Cyclops departed Rio de Janeiro on January 9, 1918. It made an unscheduled stop in Barbados on March 4th and then continued its journey. The ship was never seen or heard from again. A massive search was conducted, but no wreckage or debris was ever found. The disappearance of the Cyclops was and remains the single largest non-combat loss of life in US naval history. The Cyclops is another well-known case in the legend of the Bermuda Triangle. Its unexplained disappearance, with all hands and no distress signals, has fueled various theories, including a sudden storm, structural failure, and even a German U-boat attack, though no evidence supports the latter. The loss of the Cyclops so perplexed President Woodrow Wilson that he stated, "Only God and the sea know what happened to the great ship." The SS Bechimo was a steel-hulled cargo steamer built in 1914. It was used primarily for fur trading and was operated by the Hudson's Bay Company. In October 1931, the Bechimo was on a trading voyage along the coast of Alaska when it became trapped in a sudden blizzard and pack ice. The crew, fearing the ship would be crushed, abandoned the ship and took shelter in the nearby town of Barrow. When the storm subsided, the ship was found to have survived. The crew reboarded and attempted to free the ship from the ice, but a few days later, a second, more powerful storm hit. The crew, again, abandoned the ship, this time thinking it was sure to sink. They decided to retrieve the most valuable remaining cargo, primarily furs, to transport by air. After that, they abandoned the ship for good, expecting it to sink at any moment. To their astonishment, the Bechimo remained afloat and disappeared into the storm. The Bechimo was subsequently sighted on and off for the next 38 years. She was seen drifting, often without a crew, earning her the title of Ghost Ship of the Arctic. She was boarded by various groups of people, including Eskimos, trappers, and explorers, who found the ship to be in relatively good condition, though the cargo had been looted over time. The last confirmed sighting was in 1969, by a group of Eskimos who saw her trapped in an ice floe. The Bechimo has not been seen since 1969. It is believed that she finally succumbed to the elements and sank to the bottom of the Arctic Ocean. So what do you think? Which of these disappearances at sea left you the most unsettled? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're brave enough, keep sailing with us into more strange and chilling mysteries right here on Unfolded.